Guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Today we are going to be looking at Nehemiah Chapter 4, and if you haven't read this chapter, please pause. Be an obedient person. Just pause this recording, read the chapter for yourself, understand what's happening in the chapter, then you can come to listen to the summary and the lessons that I have picked from this chapter. All right, so in this chapter, the wall is continuing to be built, but as every good movie has a plot twist, or rather has a villain. Villain hapa ni Sanballat. Sanballat and his people have decided they are going to, make fun of Nehemiah and the builders and to discourage them, to instill trouble, to instill fear and intimidation, just so that this wall doesn't get built. But they do not succeed. And in this chapter, we see that happen. We see them making fun of them, telling them, Sasa, what are these they're building? Even a fox can break down whatever it is that they are building. They think they can bring stones back to life. They're telling them things that are not nice to hear. They're telling them things that could potentially discourage people. But we see Nehemiah also praying. And I like the prayer that he makes because it's such a frustrated prayer. A prayer that I make all the time when someone annoys me. I'm just like, okay, God, punish them, do something. Don't let their life go well. That's basically the, the prayer Nehemiah is saying. And he's saying that Sanballat and Tobiah are insulting us. Make bad things happen to them, make them ashamed. Don't take away their guilt or don't forgive them for they haven't done something good in your sight. They have insulted and discouraged the builders. And I feel like this is not a very new prayer for me because I feel like I make this prayer all the time. And I feel like kids do that even with their parents. Like when a kid goes out there and they get hurt by another kid, they come straight to the parent and say, Nani amenifanyia. And they actually expect the parent to do something about it, to call that other kid, to discipline them, to chapa them or something. That is exactly what Nehemiah did. Another thing that I note from this chapter is that Satan's scheme is always the same. It's like he has a template, and his template is discouragement, it's fear, it's stirring up trouble and confusion and doubt. He makes you want to doubt the things that you're doing. He makes you fearful. He makes you, discouraged about the things that you're doing for the Lord. And I also like the fact that Nehemiah, in this chapter, we see him praying, but we see him also getting prepared. I mean, he got people vigilant and armed. These people are working while others were guarding. And there were those that were guarding and working at the same time because one hand was building and the other hand was holding a weapon. And that is just a clear indication that trusting God is not an excuse for your laziness. Trusting God is not an excuse for your unpreparedness. Trusting God is not an excuse for you to not stay vigilant, for you to not stay alert, for you to not stay armed. I mean, armed even with the things that you need in this life. It is good to be armed. It is good to do things that are over and above trusting God. Are you prepared? Over and above trusting God, what are you doing? What is it that you can do that you are not doing and you need to start doing? The other thing I noticed is that there was trash that prevented the work from being done. This trash was debris from the walls that had been burnt. So as much as, yes, they were constructing a new wall, they had not removed the debris, or rather the old wall. They had not removed all those, takatakas that had come from, of course, probably destroying what was remaining there for them to start rebuilding. And one of the things that this teaches me is that sometimes we are aware, and we are aware that anger is a problem. We are aware that not forgiving people is a problem. Let's say not forgiving people, for example. We are aware that not forgiving people is a problem. And we have decided that moving on, I'm going to start forgiving people. But you have forgotten that there are people you have not forgiven, and there's bitterness that is still sitting in your heart. There's bitterness that is still sitting in your mind. There's, stuff that is still sitting in your life that you should take away. Yes, moving forward, you've decided this is the right way to do these things, and this is what I'm going to do. But also we think it is time for us to take time and remove that which is already existing that is preventing the work from being done. That which that is already existing, that yes, you have decided that this is the wrong thing, but take time to remove it from your mind, from your heart, from your speech even, and even from your life, so that then life can be done properly, so that life walls can be rebuilt properly, because there's no point of rebuilding a wall only to protect the debris. See, afadhali utoe debris kwanza. I think that is what makes sense. Well, the other thing that I learned from this chapter, or rather the thing that I see Nehemiah illustrating in this chapter, is a verse in James chapter 4 verse 7. James chapter 4 verse 7 says, submit yourself to the Lord, resist the devil and he will flee from you. In the easy to read version, it says, so give yourself to God, stand against the devil and he will run away from you. You see, the thing is, for as long as I've existed, I have thought that resisting the devil is basically saying, I resist you in the name of Jesus, or I bind you in the name of Jesus. But that is just basically not what Nehemiah illustrates in this chapter. We see him seeing what the devil is doing, or rather what Sanballat is doing by, discouraging his crew, making fun of the wall that they are making. They're rebuilding, making fun of them as well, wanting to stir up fear and trouble, wanting to attack them. And we see him seeing that, and when he sees that, he submits himself to the Lord by going to the Lord in prayer. He goes to the Lord in prayer and prays a prayer of justice. But over and above submitting yourself to God, there's this point of now stand against the devil. Resist the devil. Resisting the devil is not cute and pretty where you're just sitting in the corner, you're like, me, I'm resisting the devil. Imagine it is not. It is standing guarded and armed, like these builders were armed and ready to attack if the enemy was to come their way and to attack them. Standing against the devil does not necessarily mean just sitting there and just saying, I've resisted. Resisting is action. Standing against the devil is action. It's being planned. It's being well planned, well organized, well prepared. Being ready. Studying the things that you need to study if you're in a career. It's being prepared, having the knowledge for you to do the things that needs to be done. You need to stand against the devil. You can't stand against the devil by just praying. There's praying that Nehemiah did, but there's also staying alert, staying vigilant, and being armed, and totally armed. So my question for this, and we see the enemy resist. We see Sanballat and his team decide they're not going to attack because they realized, these guys are they're unshakable. They are building and still guarding themselves at the same time. So we actually see the verse come to fruition. We see the result, which is the enemy fleeing from them. So my question is, what does your submission of the Lord to the Lord and resisting the devil look like? What does your submission to the Lord and especially resisting the devil look like in your life? Thank you very much for listening and see you tomorrow.